We are 11 races down here in the Power V8 Cup Series, but it all comes down to this race. Tonight, we are live for race 12 from Daytona for the Firecracker 400, presented by Big Machine Vodka. Today's race is going to be the most intense and probably one of the craziest ones of the entire year, the last regular season race before the beginning of the Championship Gauntlet. Hello everyone, welcome back once again for some more Power V8 Cup Series action. Today we are here live from the Daytona International Speedway for the last race before the chase for the championship begins. Only the top 10 in points will be able to compete over the next 8 races to be the first inaugural V8 Cup Series champion. Lots of tensions, lots of nerves going into this race, as many drivers are just above or below the cutoff. Only 10 points separates 10th from 11th, and many drivers just close on that gap as well. Anything can happen here, and it most likely will. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers are able to manage their way through the treacherous high banks of the Daytona International Speedway. Tonight's name of the game is going to be the points battle. Going into this race is going to be important for those to be able to secure their spots into the Championship Gauntlet. We're going to show you who to look out for, as no spots here in the Gauntlet are safe. Even the points lead is up for grabs potentially, so we could see some drivers swap around spots within the standings and try to get themselves a higher seed going into the beginning of the Gauntlet. Many drivers as well just on the outside looking in. If they have themselves a fantastic race or some things go their way, we could see some underdogs slip their way into the top 10. Right now, as it stands, Roberto Crown Jr. is still our points leader. Hasn't been able to win yet this season, but he's been the most consistent and the fastest driver. However, he's coming off a bad race in Martinsville where he did not score any points, and he's had a couple of some bad finishes as of late. Brett Bishop is just behind him, off by 18 points in the second position with 111 points. Bishop has been incredibly consistent and has been gaining himself a lot of momentum and speed. He actually rolls off in second today, so we'll see if Bishop could possibly grab the points lead by the end of this race going into the Gauntlet. Christian Russell sits in third, one of 2 drivers who have been able to win 2 races this year. Russell hasn't had a lot of luck go his way as of late, and that's why he sees himself 24 points off of the points leader, but still, he could find himself back in the points lead as well if he can go ahead and get himself a fantastic finish here. Owen Scott, our winner at Charlotte, is just 3 points off of Christian Russell with 102 points. He's actually tied with Justin Henley for that 4th position. They both sit at 102 in the point standings. Ethan Hayden is a good bit off of them. You remember Hayden won the very first race here at Daytona early in the season opener, and he rolls off here in the 1st position. So Ethan Hayden trying to go back-to-back at Daytona, complete the sweep, and show his dominance here at this track. He's trying to make Daytona his own, and right now he's looking really primed to do that, rolling off here first today. Just a few points off of him, about 15 to be exact, is Seishin Tomioka. He won the last race, and he is the second 2-time winner. Tomioka has been absolutely incredible. Seishin the sensation. He has absolutely come in and shown an incredible amount of pace and speed, winning not only once but twice now, getting wins at Talladega and Martinsville. So Tomioka proving that he has a lot of capabilities and speed on the super speedways, coming into what I believe is only his 5th race so far this season, is absolutely incredible to see. It's not a total guarantee he'll be in the Gauntlet, but right now it's looking pretty good that we can see Tomioka be an underdog for the championship. James Fletcher is just 1 point off of him, the race 2 winner at Atlanta. Fletcher's been getting himself a consistent string of finishes. Just announced that he'll be re-signing on with JC Motorsports for next season, so hopefully he can build himself a lot of momentum, possibly bring them home a championship. He's tied with Chris White in that 8th position. White as well, another guy who came in a little bit earlier than Tomioka, but still, White's been very consistent, shown a lot of speed, and is still in the mix for the Gauntlet, but of course, not a guarantee that he can get in and be locked in for the championship. Nelson Reeves is the final driver within the top 10. He sits with 68 points, as he is the final one that is able to get himself into the championship gauntlet spots. He's going to need to make sure that he can get himself a good finish to be able to make sure that he can leapfrog a couple positions and get himself safe within the championship gauntlet. Those who are just on the outside looking in include the likes of Jeff Bolton, who is only 10 points off of Nelson Reeves with 58 and 11th. A tie between Arvin Basic and Nick Kennedy, both at 55 points apiece. Basic and Kennedy both looking to try to get themselves a good finish. Basic won at Golden State earlier this year, so he's trying to get himself another win on the season. Nick Kennedy is just a couple points off of them with 53 as well, so he is only 15 points off from the 10th position in Nelson Reeves. And Myron Felder, the last of those who were locked into this race based on points, sits in the last 15th spot with 50 points. He is 18 points on the outside looking in from Nelson Reeves. Of course, anything is possible if these guys get a really good run, have a great race, and some the guys that are just on the inside of the gauntlet have bad races, they could still find ways to get in, but they're going to need some things to go their way and have some really good runs today. Those who are going to need a miracle, as in most likely going to need to complete the Grand Slam, win the race, lead the most laps, and get the fastest lap, include the likes of Ruben Gonzalez with 49 points. He's just with Myron Felder as well. He's only 19 points out, so he's not exactly in that Hail Mary situation as well, but he's right there. Ben Crouch is in 17th, but he's going to be eliminated because he did not make it to tonight's race. He DNQ'd, unfortunately, so we are not going to see Ben Crouch is not going to be able to get himself into the race due to the fact that he did not qualify, so his championship hopes are done. Adam Wilson, I believe, may be in the same scenario Adam Wilson is in this race, excuse me. Wilson has been on a bad streak of DNQs, and as a result, he's looking himself so much on the outside looking in, but he did win at Old Spice. He's going to need to probably pull off another win and have some stuff really go his way in order to be able to get in. Zachary DeLello and Boston Jones also in that same boat as well with 37 points apiece. They are going to need to be able to complete the Grand Slam and have a lot of bad luck happen to some of the guys that are holding those final championship gauntlet positions. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. The Big Machine Vodka Firecracker 400 is going to be set and underway in a few minutes here now, as Ethan Hayden is going to lead us down to the green. He won the Royalty Graphics 500 earlier in the season. He's going to try to complete the sweep here at Daytona and get himself absolutely secured. He should be good to, I believe he will be able to get himself locked in. He's just above those guys who should really be worried, but I'm sure Ethan Hayden would love to kick himself off the championship gauntlet run with a win going into it. Brett Bishop in that second place, both in the championship and on the starting lineup right now. Bishop looking to gain himself a lot of momentum and get his first career win here at Daytona going into the gauntlet. That would be a really big statement. Just behind them is Arvin Basic starting in the third position. He's going to try to get himself into the gauntlet as well, as he's just on the outside looking in. Will definitely be a big boost to him. Hopefully he can have a good run in that JCM Chevy. Carl Untesweffer on the outside of him in the fourth position. Chris Parker and Aiden Smith will make up row 3, along with John Ritson and Mitchell Collins in row 4, and Adam Wilson and Miles Mashburn will round out the top 10. Justin Henley will sit in the 11th spot outside of Solomon Sheridan. Cody Goforth and Boston Jones will make up row 7th, another good qualifying run to see for Cody Goforth. And his team owner Zachary Fitzwater Sr. as well, after qualifying on the pole of last race. He'll start 15th in this race with Riley Hill to his outside. Zachary DeLello and John McFadden will make up row 9, with Adrian Rojas and Roger James rounding out the top 20. Jeff Bolton, trying to get himself into the championship gauntlet, sees himself just 6 spots outside of the first near points positions, but he's going to need much more than 15th if he's going to be able to get himself into the top 10 in points. He will roll off 21st with Already Alejo outside of him in 22nd. Dylan Hayden and Leland Hill will make up row 12, with our points leader and Blake Parker making up row 13. Roberto Crown Jr. will roll off in the 25th position. Ruben Gonzalez, another driver trying to make his way in. He's going to need to find himself much more up at the front. He finished second here at Daytona early on this season, so he knows how to make his way around at this place. We'll see if he can do it again. He will roll off 27th with Ricky Freeman Jr. starting on the outside of him. And Alexander Rowe and Ronnie Martin are going to round out the top 30. David Dixon and Chris White, two guys trying to fight for their gauntlet positions. White just barely in by a few points in the 9th position of points, while David Dixon currently looking on the outside in. He sits 14th in the point standings. Both of these guys are going to line up in the 16th row. Two part-timers, Marcus Brown announced he'll go full-time next year with Mercedes. He'll start in the inside with Tario Lowell to his outside. Christian Vargas and Christian Russell, another Christian and Christian show for the 2nd time in a row. These two guys find themselves lined up in the same row. They'll line up 35th and 36th for today's race. Some more points drivers starting in the back, row 19. We'll find Owen Scott and Nelson Reeves. Scott much higher in the points. He should be good, but he's definitely going to want to try to get himself potentially either a higher seeding or even in the points lead going into this. And also, we have Nelson Reeves, who is fighting for his championship gauntlet hopes. He is the last driver within the championship gauntlet. Remember, 10 spots separate, or 10 points separate between him and Jeff Bolin in the point standings. So it's going to be crucial to see how he does. Myron Felder as well, trying to fight for his top 10 in the points. He just sits on the outside looking in. He's going to need to get himself to the front as well. And then finally, the last row will feature Station Tomioka and James Fletcher. I believe these two, they pretty much only made it in due to their provisionals, as you'll see. The Tomioka, the winner of the last race here, still within, he is 7th in the point standings right now. And he's going to be able to try to fight his way all the way up to the front, try to get some more points and get himself a higher spot. Like we said, we believe Tomioka could be a huge dark horse contender for the championship gauntlet, but he's got to make sure he gets into the gauntlet first in order to be able to do that. And James Fletcher as well, once again another driver fighting for their championship gauntlet hopes. He currently sits in the 8th place position in the points. He will line up last on the road today. I want to apologize too, we went over Nick Kennedy as well. He'll be starting in the 39th position. Another driver fighting for the championship gauntlet hopes, trying to find his way in. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at your DNQs real quick. As you'll see, Weston Roper, Josh Moore, Ben Crouch, Priya McShane, JQ Halleck, Cam Wright Sr., Herbert Oakes III, and David Wade. David Wade making his debut start, or was going to attempt to, but unfortunately he was the slowest of all the qualifiers. So many drivers here, as you'll see, Ben Crouch was 17th in the points. He is not going to be able to fight for the gauntlet. His championship hopes are over. Many drivers are going to have to fight their way up to the front if they're going to want to be able to get themselves locked into the gauntlet. And now it's time to determine the 10 drivers who are going to compete for the championship gauntlet. Let's go down trackside for the Big Machine Vodka 400.
Drivers, start your engines!
Okay, Ben, you can fire it up when you're ready, bud. You can fire it in. Bring it up. Early.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at how the track is going to shape up for this race. We're going to have 40 laps that will make up the regular season finale. It's going to be about a 30 to 35 lap pit window, so we believe if there is a caution or two, these drivers, as long as they don't have any damage, should be able to make it to the end of this race. It's a pretty cool night here in Daytona Beach, Florida. 77 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind coming in at 7 miles per hour from the northeast direction. It's going to be important to see how these guys react and handle to the track and to the conditions here tonight. There's going to be a lot of tensions, a lot of nerves going. It's going to be important for these drivers to be able to control it all and make their way through the storm, as anything can happen here at Daytona. Ethan Hayden, our winner earlier here this season, the season opener. And Brett Bishop, he's been very, very consistent. Behind them is Arvin Basic, who won at the Golden State Speedway. Got a lot of heavy hitters here in the field today, many of them trying to make their way into the gauntlet. Just 10 points separates 10th from 11th, and a lot of drivers going to need to be able to either lead the most laps, get the fastest lap, and or possibly win this race in order to be able to try to get themselves into the chase for the championship. But right now, as it sits, pace car is going to dive down pit road, and we are going to get set here at Daytona. Pace car comes in. Field approaches the restart zone, and the green flag is out for the regular season finale. Two Mercedes out in front right now. Looks like Ethan Hayden is going to go ahead and lead lap number 1. As you'll see here now, John Ritson will immediately look to the bottom. He'll get help from Adam Wilson and Aiden Smith. Smith got knocked around a little bit with Mitchell Collins trying to get up to speed there on the first lap, but he's looked to got it together, and now he is pushing Adam Wilson up to the front. Doing a great job right now. He's going to look to the bottom, actually try to lead down that inside line. Adam Wilson wants to go with him, but just can't. Doesn't have him cleared. We might see 3 wide for the lead. We will actually here, as Aiden Smith is going to come around and lead, try to get the momentum. He's got help from Zachary Fitzwater Sr., and it looks like Aiden Smith going to come around and lead the second lap of today's race. So now Smith comes through. He's got help from Zachary Fitzwater right down in the middle. Adam Wilson comes up to the top with a push from John Ritson, and Ethan Hayden trying to make his way back around, try to get himself higher up in the points positions. He should be good to the cutoff, but he's still looking to get himself a higher position, a higher seed going into the championship gauntlet. So he's going to look to be able to try to get as many points as he can in tonight's race. But right now, Aiden Smith trying to stay out in front and in control. Don't believe Smith is in possible contention of getting himself into the championship gauntlet, but, you know, never to say never. Still would love to see a win for the Crown Chevy Racing team, as they actually haven't won a race yet so far this season, despite their team owner being the points leader. Pretty interesting to see there, as right now, lap 4. Untes Weffer getting a little bit of help from DeLello and Adrian Rojas, as it's really tight here in the back. We're seeing some 4 wide and trouble. 2 cars going down onto the apron. It's Lowell and Ronnie Martin. They're going to keep it going, though. We'll see if Lowell can... Oh, he's going to go through the grass quite a bit. He'll probably lose... Oh, he's going to come back up. Is he going to hit anything? No, not quite. They're going to... Wow, that was amazing. Both Lowell and Ronnie Martin there, they got forced 4 wide and pushed down onto the apron. That was quite the save, but that's really going to break up some of these packs here. And looks like Martin and Lowell definitely, or Lowell, excuse me, he's definitely going to lose out on some spots here. Some really tight racing in the back, actually. A lot of these guys got to be careful here, as it's only lap 5. Meanwhile, up at the front, though, as we saw that danger, we've got Carl Entesweffer leading, but Adrian Rojas trying to go ahead and put an end to that. As now Rojas looks to the inside. Entesweffer has some help from Cody Goforth, and Goforth immediately going to ditch him, try to find his own line up at the top, but nothing's really going to work out there. Possibly trying to clean out his grill, get some clean air going for him as well. We'll see who will win the race to the line. It looks like it is going to be the 43 who will lead lap number 5. But immediately now he'll move down to the inside to try to block. Dylan Hayden getting a push from his team owner, Roberto Crown Jr. Oh, Crown Jr. is going to hook him a little bit. They're both going to save it, but Ooh, that could have been really scary. These guys racing incredibly close here at the start. It's going to be interesting to see how they can get settled in, or if they'll ever get settled in. As now here comes Justin Henley. You just have everyone trying to get up to the front and leading as many laps as they possibly can. It's everyone for themselves right now, and you're just trying to get up there by any means possible. So right here as we come across the line, Unterweger going to get himself another lap lead. He'll come across the lead lap 6. And Adrian Rojas going to try to build himself up a good bit of a run here now, as we see the field come by. Still holding their own for the most part. Some 3 wide racing for sure across the pack. A lot of these guys here are actually starting to get a little dicey here. David Dixon going all over in the back. As now we're seeing Adrian Rojas push his way through to the lead with that inside line. Ooh, watch out here. Chris Parker tried to put his nose on the inside of Cody Goforth, but he was able to just get off of that draft. Here comes Rojas and Hayden, though. I think Hayden not going to be able to pass Rojas there, so Rojas will lead that lap. Now here comes Dylan Hayden immediately to the inside. 3 wide galore here throughout the pack, as we are seeing some really tight racing. These guys giving it their all, as a lot of them being drivers trying to get themselves within the gauntlet, or they are inside of the gauntlet. We're seeing some good contenders here like Reeves, Christian Russell, and others. Zachary DeLello coming to the back here now. Henley moving his way up to the front. It's going to be interesting if he can gain any more momentum. Possibly, he does have a shot at getting the points lead. He'll have to, do the most out of anyone. But here comes Dylan Hayden now getting himself a lap lead. Good for Hayden, the driver who was injured here at the first race. He got caught up in the catch fence, was out for a couple of races due to the result of it, and it's definitely shaken his confidence and his speed, as he's missed a lot of races as a result. And for Dylan Hayden, not a lot has gone his way, but it's great to see him here at Daytona, out in front, leading some laps. Definitely the fans are on their feet, loving Dylan Hayden out in front, leading in that number 48 Crown Chevy Racing. Chevy, a lot of the CCR cars have been out in front. Aiden Smith's been up at the front. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. moving into that second position. Dylan Hayden going to get himself another lap led. So far, the CCR cars have led the most laps. They've led half of them, as we now come across to lap 10. 3 wide here for that third position. Roberto Crown Jr. going to try to get in front as well and get himself a lap lead. He's going to slide in front of his teammate. They'll try to do the switcheroo, possibly get some clean air to Roberto Crown Jr., let him get some laps in as well, as CCR seems to be hooked up. At least the 2 of them are working really well. 3 wide, though. Throughout the pack, Jeff Bolton trying to get himself some points. He needs more than 10 points to get himself past Nelson Reeves, and right now he's doing a good job at it. Reeves doesn't look to be inside of the points positions. He's got himself, right now Bolton's got himself in that second spot. Couple of cars moving here now as we're seeing 3 wide throughout the field. So far, about a fourth of the way through this race, haven't seen anything too crazy yet. We've had some near close calls. Ronnie Martin and Tari Lowell being the 2 that almost caught themselves in the inside wall. Martin's been able to recover from it, but not so much can be said for Tari Lowell, who is unfortunately in the back and is all by himself due to the fact that he is not with the pack. So it's going to be tough for those guys to try to make their way up to the front. Right now, though, Cody Goforth getting himself a lap lead. Goforth hasn't had the greatest of seasons, but he's coming off of a really good run at Martinsville. He came across in the 3rd position, if I recall correctly. So Cody Goforth trying to build himself some good momentum. He's out in front leading here at Daytona and doing his team well. Well, it's still not confirmed if Goforth is going to return for next season. So hopefully, possibly whether it's with Fitzwater Australia Racing or with a different team, we could see Cody Goforth really capitalize on his full potential. He's out in front and leading, doing the best that he can. Right now, though, starting to see a little bit of some separation within the packs, as some guys are going 3 wide while others are not. Goforth is going to come back around to lead another lap once again. now here comes Justin Henley. He said, all right, you know, you had enough. You had your fun trying to lead. Now it's my turn. I want to go to the front. I want to be able to lead some laps and capitalize here. 3 wide for third. Here comes Carl Untersweffer. Untersweffer is confirmed he's not returning to Ronnie Racing next year. Not too sure. And possible he might be starting up a D2 team of his own for the Thunder Light Series, but as of right now, Untersweffer does not have a ride in the VA Cup Series. So he's going to try to get everything that he can in this Ronnie Racing equipment. And right now, he is looking to try to make a charge up to the front. As the pack has been pretty calm here at the start. Justin Henley going to come around and lead that lap. Whoa, trouble! There goes Jeff Bullen around. As I say that, Riley Hill is around. A bunch of cars. Owen Wilson flipping over on top of Riley Hill. It's the big one. There it is. All the cars come crashing in. Owen Wilson still wrecking and flipping over. Oh my goodness. What a hit. Wow. Just as we say that, race back to the line here as we see Justin Henley out in front. 3 Dodges make second through third, and Ethan Hayden rounds out the top 5. Oh my goodness, what a crash the big one has struck here at Daytona, as the caution's going to come out on lap 14. Race back to the line. Untersweffer going to look to the inside, but it is going to be Justin Henley as these cars will now get themselves woed down. A absolutely colossal incident. Many cars involved out of the race. Owen Scott flipped over multiple times. We have to make sure, check to see if he is okay, but lots of cars are going to be heavily damaged as a result. Caution is out here on lap 15. Try to get a good look here. It looks like Jeff Bolton is going to get a big push from Roberto Crown Jr. He's going to have nowhere to go but try to go to the outside of Cody Goforth, and it's just going to cause chaos from there. He gets in the wall and then gets clipped by Crown Jr. into Hayden, and chaos ensues from there. Many cars get involved. Owen Scott flips over. As you'll see here, lots of cars just have absolutely nowhere to go. Arvin Basic also going to flip over as well. As you see here, an incredible amount of cars all crashed and damaged and or junked as a result of this incident. Take a look once again as you'll see the cars coming off of turn 4. A huge run from that outside line causes Jeff Bolton to have nowhere to go. You're going to see Owen Scott get clipped down by Roberto Crown Jr. as a result. He'll get into Riley Hill, and then somehow Chris White hits Owen Scott so hard it sends him flipping. Scott's car goes on top of the 5 of Riley Hill, and then he goes around and has some more hits as well. Another scary incident as well involves the 65 of Adrian Rojas. He gets knocked down, and they come up hard back on the track here. As you'll see, he goes into, almost goes into the inside retaining wall, but he has to come back up into the turn on a straight angle, and he's going to clip the 40 of Aiden Smith incredibly hard. And luckily, he comes down the track. Doesn't look like anyone else hits him. Oh my goodness, the 34 Jeff Bolton almost did, but still an absolutely crazy ride there. Take another look here as you'll see Bolton just gets a really big push from Crown Jr. that puts him in the wall, and then they just have nowhere to go down into the whatever traffic was really next to them. Lots of cars get involved. Roberto Crown Jr., points leader, is in it bad. And many cars here. Christian Russell, Fitzwater. Boston Jones, wow, I don't even know what happened to him. He just got catapulted and then just sat back directly on the track. That was weird. Taking on board here with Jeff Bolton, as you'll see the main, what happens to him. Take a look at this bumper. You got Crown Jr. just pushing all over him. And he's got nowhere to go. And he just gets hits a whole bunch of times. Just everyone crashing in front of him. Cars flipping. Stays down low, does a great job with the wreck avoidance. Towards the end of that, but still Bolton caught up in a big chunk of that wreck. Taken on board here with Boston Jones, who wasn't too near the wreck, but still got a big piece of it. You're going to see his car get absolutely launched as a result of contact, trying to make his way through, trying to find a hole. It's not there, it's not there. He's going to get hit from behind, and then just sits himself back up on the track. Nice and perfectly. A very wild ride for Boston Jones. Owen Scott also takes an absolutely crazy ride here, as you're going to see. guys just get caught up. Scott tries to go low to avoid the cars in the wall, but he's got nowhere to go. He's going to get hit here. Roll over once. Now he's up on top. You get a great view of the wreck coming in. And once again, just lots of chaos and carnage. We're going to get one more look here at Owen Scott's flip. We do have confirmation that he is okay, which is great to hear. He took a pretty crazy ride, but it didn't look too bad in terms of the hits. But it was definitely still nonetheless very crazy and just an absolutely wild ride here that Chris White gets into him that hard, flips him over, and then he just gets hooked onto the 5 of Riley Hill, and then they all just wreck behind him. An absolutely insane ride. Oh, and he gets clipped by the 7 of Ricky Freeman Jr. as well. So definitely an insane one for sure. Wild rides here at Daytona. First caution is out as a result of the big one. We will be right back after this. All right, after the replays here now, we are going to get set for the pit stops. Those who are still in the race, or at least running, are going to come down pit road, get themselves a new set of tires, topped off on fuel, and this should have the entire field good to the end of the race. They should be just fine and have no issues from there, I would not suspect. As we're seeing now here, Henley coming down pit road, the entire field down pit road. Some cars, as you see here, still being worked on from the wreck, but many cars coming in now to the pits here. Starting to see some drivers make their way out. Ethan Hayden gets himself into that first stall. Like we said, the whole entire field should be coming in for a new set of 4 tires and fuel. Some adjustments being made if needed. But many of these cars here trying to repair damages. Justin Henley going to come out first. Go for it second, followed by Gonzalez. Alexander Rowe going to make himself up some good spots, and Hayden going to lose out on some spots as a result of that pit stop. But as you see now, field coming back out here as we're going to get set to go back racing here soon, right after this. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Big Machine Vodka 400. We are under caution for the wreck that happened on lap 14. Pretty much almost feels like 3/4 of the field was involved, but we'll show you everyone who's out of the race real quick. It involves the likes of Blake Parker, Riley Hill, Ricky Freeman Jr., Solomon Sheridan's going to be out of the race, Owen Scott, Boston Jones. For Boston Jones, his championship gauntlet hopes are unfortunately up in smoke. Roberto Crown Jr. is going to be out of this race, Christian Russell as well. David Dixon's championship gauntlet hopes are done. Aiden Smith, after leading a couple laps, is going to be out of the race. Other drivers like Seishin Tomioka, he's going to have to hope his 7th in points is good enough. Leland Hill will be out of this race. Adrian Rojas, unfortunately, out. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Will not continue. Marcus Brown and John McFadden all make up those who are going to be out of this race. Still plenty of drivers who are in contention and could possibly go on to upset and get themselves some better positioning and some points here now, especially with a lot of these guys being out of the race. So it should be interesting to see what exactly happens here on this restart. Pace car dives down pit road. Field comes to the restart zone as we get the green flag back in the air here at Daytona. Henley's going to lead him down. Goforth going to give him a push, and Gonzalez immediately looks to the outside line. As right now, cars starting to get up to speed. You're going to see a lot of drivers here with damage. Most of the pack here, you're going to see a lot of torn off bumpers and sheet metal. They're just really hoping for the best. If hopefully another caution or anything like that happens, that can go in their favor. But as we come across the halfway mark of this race, pretty much if you have all 4 fenders on your car, you got a shot at winning right now. As we're seeing here, Justin Henley trying to move up to the top to defend his lead. Cody Goforth does have the inside line, and we'll see if Henley can get enough of a run to get back at him. So far, Henley has led the most amount of laps today, and he's trying to continue to build on that count. But Cody Goforth, meanwhile, has other plans to do so, as he will come across the line. Watch out for Untersweffer. He's scraping across the wall a little bit. He can't get off of it. Ruben Gonzalez is going to move out of his way because he doesn't want to get involved in another wreck. Henley trying to move down to the middle line, but Alexander Rowe going to make his presence known. Rowe has just been announced that he will be joining the Mercedes-AMG Junior team in the Thunder Light Series next year, so definitely still putting a good bit of V8 Cup experience on his resume. Always looks good and will for sure help him in his championship pursuits in the Thunder Light Series next year. As here comes James Fletcher now trying to make a move to the inside, as he does, and he will move to the... No, he does not. He does not have enough of a run, actually. The high line comes along and gets a lot more momentum. Fletcher thought he had a shot at the lead, but just pretty much lost all momentum, it looked like. Cody Goforth going to, once again, lead another lap here. Henley going to try to move down bottom and go back for a charge to the lead, as we're seeing now here. A little bit of three-wide racing through this little pack. Look through the field here. Many cars beaten and battered. Got Mitchell Collins with a little bit of damage and Brett Bishop trying to make their way along, and the rest is just beaten cars. See here, Jeff Bolton, that's the guy he needs to beat, Nelson Reeves, but Bolton's got to find a lot more positions. He's got to find his way up to this front pack if he's going to be able to get into the gauntlet, and I'm not sure with the damage that he has from that wreck if he's going to be able to do so. Now, as we see here, Justin Henley going to come back and get himself another lap led. So far, he has led 9 laps in this race. As right now, he's trying to make his presence known. He wants to be able to make a push for this championship here. 3 wide for third. Here comes Alex Rowe getting a little bit of help. We also have a little bit of some 3-wide action behind them for what I believe is that 8th position. So still a good, decent-sized pack here right now. It looks like Brett Bishop is that final car in the top 15 in points. So pretty much the top 15 is all within this pack. If you're in this pack, you're in the points. So if you can get to the front of this little pack, you're going to get yourself a good batch of points here today. Like we said, we've got guys on the outside looking in still, trying to make their way up. Really, Ruben Gonzalez is the man, one of the final ones that has a shot, I believe, at getting in, but he's going to need to get up and start leading some more laps, as I don't believe he's led any today. No, he has not. Justin Henley, though, putting himself out in front and in control with another lap led here. He's got Cody Goforth right now as his closest competition. He's given him a really good push on the front. Tari Lowell, I guess that little scuffle with him and Ronnie Martin was a blessing in disguise, as it allowed him to avoid the huge wreck that ensued in front of him. And he's able to now be up at the front with the rest of these leaders contending for the win, as right now he is carrying the torch as the lone Leland Motorsports car that is still left in this race. Right now, though, Cody Goforth getting himself a lap led. He's going to get himself around the 75 of Justin Henley, but Henley immediately going to come back underneath the 60 at Cody Goforth. He's going to look with Ethan Hayden to give him some help in a push. 3 wide for fourth as Ruben Gonzalez trying to get himself up to the front. As we said, oh, watch out, more trouble. James Fletcher is around. The 17 of John Ritson going to try to come back up. Will these cars make it through? I think they will. I'm not sure if the caution is out. Yes, it is. Caution's going to come out. Race back to the line. We'll see how it goes. Ethan Hayden going to try to get himself to the front. A very odd occurrence, but I think they should be good. Race back. It is going to be the 48 of Ethan Hayden. All right, caution is out for the second time today, involving the likes of James Fletcher and a few others. Let's go ahead and get a replay, see exactly what happened. Let's get a look here now, see exactly what happened to the 25 car. I have a feeling he might come down in front of the 17, or someone tried to get up. Oh no, maybe Rowe cuts him off a little bit trying to come down, as Untersweffer was holding him up. And then, oh wow, a lot of damage to the 84 of Alexander Rowe, as he slammed into the 17 and just took the 25 around with him. Fletcher's car just kind of comes to a rest. So luckily he doesn't seem to hit anything else. Wow, comes extremely close to hitting the 72 of Miles Mashburn, but otherwise than that, appears to be all right. There's, yeah, a lot of right side damage to the 17 of John Ritson, unfortunately. Once again, another look, you're just going to see the 25 clip the 84, and that just kind of forces him down. Rowe gets a lot of damage. He's going to slam into the 17 of Ritson, but it doesn't affect him too bad. He just kind of goes off the beaten path a little bit into the apron. And as you see, James Fletcher once again just spins to a complete stop. Ritson going to get back on the track, though, just fine, just safe, and isn't able to cause another wreck. go on board here with Alexander Rowe, see him get clipped and take that really hard hit to the inside, forcing the 25 around and bringing out the second caution once again here today. Take one more look here what brought out the caution here on lap 24, as you'll see the 84 and the 25 get hooked with each other, and that'll send James Fletcher along for the ride. Caution is out here once again for the second time today. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Daytona International Speedway. We're under caution for the second time due to the lap 24 wreck involving the likes of John Ritson, James Fletcher, and Alexander Rowe. All three of these cars are going to be able to continue, and every car you see here, all 25 cars that are remaining in this race, still on the lead lap. Alexander Rowe suffered a little bit of right side damage but came down pit road to repair it. Right now, Dylan Hayden is our current leader out in front, is going to get us restarted on lap 29. So as long as everything goes well, we should be seeing a 12-lap dash to the finish if we go green for the whole distance. That's if we go green. We could possibly tie our caution amount from the first race at Daytona here, which saw 3 cautions in a 50-lap race. So far, we've seen 2 through the first 28 of a 40. Right now, though, pace car is going to dive in here shortly, as we're going to get set to get restarted on lap 29. Dylan Hayden brings us back down to the green, and we are restarted here at Daytona. Little helicopter view here for the start, as you'll see a lot of the field start to dive below. Some of these guys are going to try to get that inside line going as much as they can, as quick as they can. Here comes Justin Henley now, trying to already immediately look to the inside of Dylan Hayden and once again get some more laps led. He's led the most so far with 10, and he's trying to get the most laps led. Right now, fastest lap currently belongs to already Alejo, actually, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But right now, Alejo currently within the top 15 in points, so he currently sits on to that. Henley just barely going to be able to get down low below the 08 of Christian Vargas. That was incredibly close, but Henley trying to give it his all. He won at Middle Georgia earlier this year, filling in for Roger James. He's going to try to win in his own car, the number 75, trying to go ahead, win the Super Speedway. Trouble the 48 in the wall. He's going to scrape it a little bit, but he is going to keep it going. So Dylan Hayden, absolutely close call. Might have actually been, he held up Cody Goforth, but hopefully he can get back in line and back up to the front, as right now as it stands, the 02 of Mitchell Collins appears to be sitting as the last car within the points. So see some guys like Jeff Bolton got to make their way up, as well as Arvin Basic, Zachary DeLello. They have a lot of damage, so they're going to need another wreck pretty much between these front guys if they want any shot at getting themselves some points. As here we go now, coming across to just 10 laps to go. Christian Vargas and already Alejo trying to make their way through the front. They've been in the back all day, haven't been up at the front too much, but here they are. Vargas leading for the first time today. See here now, he's got a push from Alejo. He's going to shove Justin Henley back to the third position, but Henley still keeping himself in contention and reeled in. Tari Lowell is going up here now with Ruben Gonzalez, the only two on the high line for the time being. As you're going to see a couple cars here, they're trying to make their way to that bottom line. Here comes Alejo now. He's going to look to dive to the inside. If Alejo can get himself at least a lap led and possibly stay out in front, win this race, that would be huge for him. I don't believe he'd be able to make himself in the gauntlet, but nonetheless, it would definitely help boost him up for next year. As we see now, coming across the line, Christian Vargas going to get himself another lap led here. 3 wide for second. Here comes Untersweffer with some help from a Dodge teammate. Not the same team, but same manufacturer. Here's Ruben Gonzalez and Tari Lowell down to the bottom, as we're seeing here now Alejo and Henley get forced in the middle and high lines. Again, holding that 15th spot is Mitchell Collins right there in the back. You see him beaten and battered, so really the top, it's just the top 10 for the most part battling up here. The top 11 with Cody Goforth now getting himself back within the pack. Henley all by himself on that top line. He is dropping like a rock, and here we go up at the front. Untersweffer trying to make a move for the lead. Vargas will lead that lap, but I'm not sure if he will lead for much longer, as now we are coming up to just about 8 laps to go. Getting down to the wire here, these guys are going to have to try to make the move and get themselves set up and in position. As long as they can stay within the pack, any one of these top 11 here has an equal shot of winning this race. But the further you are at the later of the race, the higher your chances are of being able to maintain those positions. As right now, Unterweger out in front trying to take control. Like we said, he doesn't have a V8 Cup ride for next season. A win at Daytona would definitely help out, as he is trying to be in control with some help from Tari Lowell. Coming across the line, Unterweger going to lead that lap, his 3rd of the race. But now here comes the 28 with just 7 laps to go. Some moves being made here. Dylan Hayden and John Ritson going to try to go down low with the 2 and the 19 to Ethan Hayden. Those two going to try to make that inside line work. A little bit of movement going on behind in the final points paying position spots, but again, a lot of those guys who are just on the outside looking in, they do not have enough to make it up to the front unless these guys wreck. That's pretty much what they're going to need, is another huge crash involving the majority of these cars in order to get themselves those positions they need to get into the gauntlet. Otherwise than that, it's pretty much these guys just trying to fight for their first career win and potentially either land themselves a ride for next year or just build some more momentum for next year to whatever the series they're going. Like we said, Unterweger possibly in rumors swirling around him that he could be starting his own Thunder Lights team and moving down and trying to hone his craft in that division. We're not 100% sure, as here comes Tari Lowell looking to the inside now. Lowell trying to land himself a full-time ride, possibly with Leland Motorsports, as their part-time driver out in front with just 6 laps to go, coming to 5 to go, trying to make the push to the lead. As we are seeing now, the 43 gets a run on the outside from Dylan Hayden. Unterweger going to be able to hold on to the lead. He's going to try to stay in control for these final 5 laps. It is crunch time. Some drivers, I believe, are staying in the front or in the back on purpose. We might see Ronnie Martin. He's a very good super speedway racer. He is still within this race, and we might be able to see him make an upset win. A lot of these guys here, Ruben Gonzalez trying to go for the win, just so they could possibly get into the gauntlet. Already Alejo still holding on to that fastest lap, and he is right now on that inside line. Unterweger, though, in control as the laps keep ticking down. The field keeps bunching up more. These guys are getting more and more impatient, and they are waiting, just waiting for their go time. When to make the right move. You don't want to go out in front too soon, as you're seeing here. These two might be sitting ducks, as Unterweger gets himself another lap led with just 4 laps to go. Justin Henley has secured himself the most laps led of the race, so that will for sure help him out in terms of trying to get more points and climbing up the ladder and reseeding. And possibly, if he could win this race, he could actually take over the points lead, as Roberto Crown Jr. is out and won't gain any points. So it's going to be crucial here to see, as now here comes Unterweger coming back under the 28 of Lowell. Lowell was able to get him for just a second, but now Unterweger is back in the lead out in front, coming to just 3 laps to go. Some of the field's starting to get broken up here, as you're seeing these 4 cars in the back starting to lose touch of the pack. And right now it's just the top 10, or not even actually, it's really just the top, I'd say the top 7 that are within this pack. Unterweger gets himself another lap led, but Lowell is all over the rear of his car. Now more and more the pack starts to thin out. It is going to be very close, seeing who can get to the front and get that position. These guys are really going to need to come together to build themselves a proper run. We're seeing some cars trying to make it work on the high side. Here comes Christian Vargas trying to lead, but he's going to go down to the low side, try to attach himself onto those top 2. Unterweger still out in control, trying to get himself his first career win, maybe find himself a V8 Cup Series ride elsewhere. We're not 100% sure what his future holds, but right now it is in his hands with just 2 laps to go. The German-Croatian driver has been very disappointing for the majority of the season, but right now he is showing poise, he is showing control, and he is showing speed. But here comes a huge run from the inside, lots of snaking going down the backstretch here, as here comes Christian Vargas. He's got to run with Dylan Hayden, but Hayden's going to take him 3 wide. Unterweger has to go down low to block. Lowell now forced on the high side as we are coming to the white flag. Here we go now. Unterweger still out in control. Comes up to the top line. White flag. One more lap is in the air. And now it is go time here as we're starting to see a little bit of the pack start to catch up. They got to make a move. They got to get themselves set up here. Vargas trying to get to the rear of Unterweger. He's got to be able to make something happen. As we're seeing, here comes Hayden looking to the inside. Vargas now, here he comes, goes down low. He needs someone to come with him. He is trying to inch and inch, but the draft is on the high line. Here they come, though. They're going to go low. Vargas is going to get the push. He's going to get around Unterweger. Coming across the line, will anyone make a move on Vargas? He's going to go up top, and he's going to come clear. Christian Vargas is going to win here at Daytona for the regular season finale. A last corner pass. He set that up perfectly with Dylan Hayden. And Christian Vargas going to get his first career win for Vortex Racing. What a finish. What a race. An absolute thriller. As we saw fantastic racing all throughout. Absolutely. Congratulations to Christian Vargas. This is going to be absolutely huge. Unterweger still comes home in second, but I know he's going to be heavily disappointed with that finish. Dylan Hayden coming home with third should be good for him. Ruben Gonzalez finds himself fourth. Tari Lowell gets his first top 5 of his career. Ethan Hayden brings home a 6th place points finish. Brett Bishop in 7th. That might actually, it'll get him pretty close to the points lead, honestly. It'll be very close. And Justin Henley come home 8th. Ritson 9th, and already Alejo rounding out that top 10. But wow, what a race. Once again, congratulations to Christian Vargas. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the finishing results before we get you the final for the top 10 of the Championship Gauntlet and reveal those positions to you. Finishing in first, bringing home his first career win is Christian Russell. An absolute amazing victory. He only led 4 laps, but he led the most important lap, which was the last one, with an amazing move that he and Dylan Hayden set up to get around the 43 of Carl Unterweger. It was an absolutely great race to the finish. Unterweger would still come home second. I know he's very disappointed about that, but still a great finish considering his future is still in the air and unknown. So hopefully that can help out, bring some clarity for him. Dylan Hayden will come home third. Good to see after the very vicious crash he had. Hayden was up in front, in contention, led some laps. Did not let that affect him, and hopefully can build some good momentum, possibly land himself a ride for next year. It's still unconfirmed what his status is. Ruben Gonzalez as well with a great points finish in 4th. Also, I don't actually think he led any laps, but he was up at the front still. It'll be very close to see if that's enough to get him into the Championship Gauntlet. Not too sure on that one, as he'll have to try to beat out his teammate Nelson Reeves. Tari Lowell comes home and brings home his first top 5 of his career in the VA Cup. He led some laps as well, so hopefully, he almost led some laps. He was still up at the front a lot. Hopefully we'll see Lowell land himself a deal for next season, whether that's in Thunder Lights or in the VA Cup Series full-time. Brett Bishop, another great finish. We'll have to see if this can potentially leapfrog him into the points lead. I'm not exactly sure if it will, but it'll be very close at the very least due to Roberto Crown Jr. not landing any points. So Bishop coming home in 7th, good for him. Justin Henley comes home 8th, led the most laps. He had a very dominant run here, finished with the top 10 position. I know he would have liked to compete for the win, but still had a great run once again coming off from Martinsville, that 2nd place. John Ritson gets himself a top 10, which is great to see, and also already Alejo getting a top 10, another amazing thing to see considering as well he got the fastest lap. So good to see Alejo have some great performance for tonight. Just outside the top 10 includes Cody Goforth as well. 2nd points finish in a row for him, so great to see for Goforth. Ronnie Martin comes home 12th. James Fletcher 13th. Alexander Rowe in 14th. And Chris Parker rounds out those in the top 15. Parker getting himself the last point. Mitchell Collins finishes just outside at 16th, followed by Jeff Bullen. Unfortunately for Bullen, him not scoring any points, that definitely means he's not going to be able to make it to the Championship Gauntlet. So he will more than likely, or he will for sure be eliminated. Mashburn finishing behind him. Arvin Basic, same thing for him and Myron Felder. Them not finishing anywhere in the points confirms they are not making it to the Gauntlet. Outside the top 20, we see some more drivers who we know for sure won't make it, like Nick Kennedy and Zachary DeLello. They needed some stuff to go their way, and most importantly, they needed to score points. They didn't do that, so they are not going to be able to make it to the gauntlet. It's going to be close to see if Nelson Reeves' 68 points is going to be good enough. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait and see if he makes it, as he was the last car going into this race inside of the gauntlet. Then we saw the likes of Chris White and Roger James round out our top 25 and the final drivers who would finish this race. Everyone maintained to finish on the lead lap. Everybody else who we're going to name here did not finish and ended up retiring from this race, including the likes of Roberto Crown Jr., Solomon Sheridan, Blake Parker, Zachary Fitzwater, and Christian Russell. Some heavy hitters in the points there that are not going to make it. Also, we also saw Marcus Brown, John McFadden, Boston Jones, Adam Wilson, Leland Hill, Aiden Smith, Adrian Rojas, Riley Hill, Owen Scott, and Seishin Tomioka find their way retired and out of this race. So for guys like Jones and Wilson, we know for sure they're not going to be able to make it into the gauntlet. And then finally, Ricky Freeman Jr. and David Dixon were the last two to retire this race. Dixon, another driver who will now for sure not make it in to the championship gauntlet. Alright, we're going to go ahead and reveal the top 10 in points that are going to compete for the championship gauntlet. Here for the final 8 races of the season, we're going to reveal your top 10 one by one, show you who made it in and those who just missed out. Roberto Crown Jr. is going to come in with the 1 seed, finishing his regular season off with a total of 129 points. Crown Jr. able to lock himself in as the top driver going in to the championship gauntlet and is your regular season champion. Brett Bishop just close, 4 points off of him, makes up the 2nd position for Vortex Racing. He showed his Toyotas have a lot of speed, and Bishop was able to be very consistent and gain a lot of positions going together. He will be the 2nd seed for the championship gauntlet. Justin Henley will be 3rd after missing out on Charlotte and was first only a part-time relief driver for Elite Forces Racing. He's come into his own, and he has shown that he is a real threat for the championship. Just coming 8 points off of Roberto Crown Jr. on the regular season total, Henley will be going 3rd into the gauntlet. Ethan Hayden has been able to fight back. The Royalty Graphics 500 winner is 4th in the championship gauntlet seeding. He lined up with 107 points, was able to get himself a very good finish in tonight's race, wasn't able to complete the sweep, but still Hayden lining himself up to compete for the championship. On the 5th seed, it's Christian Russell, one of 2 drivers who is able to win 2 races this season. He lines up with 105 points, 24 points off of the points leader for the regular season total. But don't count out Christian Russell. Despite him going on a little bit of a slump, he's still going to be one to watch out. He's a very heavy hitter, especially on the mile-and-a-half speedways. Owen Scott claims the 6th seed with 102 points to make his regular season finale. Scott flipped over in this race, but even with that, he won at Charlotte 2 races ago and was able to lock himself in with that great finish. So Owen Scott will make up the 6th seed going into the championship gauntlet. Placing in 7th, it is the 25 of James Fletcher, lining up a Jerry Chen Motorsports Chevy inside of the championship gauntlet. Fletcher winning the 2nd race of the season, and since then he's shown a lot of consistency, getting himself a lot of top 10, top 15 points finishes, and as a result it puts him 7th on the championship gauntlet seeding. Coming in at the 8th spot, this guy has come out of nowhere, literally, having only raced about less than half of the races so far this season. Seishin Tomioka makes up the 8th seed going into the championship gauntlet. 2 wins in 5 races is going to be good enough to put Tomioka in as a complete dark horse contender. Ever since he's taken over the 9 car and rebranded to the 53, it has been nothing but success for the number 53 at Tomioka. As like we said, 2 wins in 5 races, he is going to be one to watch out for. Another driver who came in later on in the season, but still showed a lot of success and poise, is Chris White. Another Vortex Racing Toyota finds their way into the Championship Gauntlet, showing they have a lot of speed and a lot of pace to be real contenders here for these next 8 races. And finally, the drum rolls for who will maintain the 10th and final Championship Gauntlet position, the suspense, the anticipation, and it is going to be the 26 of Ruben Gonzalez. His 4th place finish here tonight was good enough to edge out his teammate Nelson Reeves by just 1 point. That's right. Ruben Gonzalez has had an up and down year, but Daytona has been a track that's clearly been very kind to him as he's come home with a 2nd and a 4th place finish here at the 2 regular season races we've run here. Gonzalez has been able to lock himself in to the top 10 of the Championship Gauntlet. Absolutely crazy stuff to see as a lot of the drivers that were on the outside looking in. Nelson Reeves came into this race as the last driver in. He just needed to secure 1 point and he would have been good, but his teammate just was better, coming home with the 4th place finish to outduel him. Jeff Bolton, Arvin Basic, Nick Kennedy, and David Dixon all getting involved in wrecks unfortunately derailed their efforts of trying to make their way into the Championship Gauntlet. With that now, the stage is set. All 10 of these drivers will have their points reset and be at a dead even heat going into the next race, the first race of the Championship Gauntlet. We are going to go to upstate New York for Watkins Glen International Raceway for the Bare Naked Granola 350 at the Glen. You will not want to miss it. The tensions are going to be high and the points are going to be important. Watch as these 10 drivers are going to battle it out throughout the next 8 races to determine who is going to be the inaugural V8 Cup Series champion. We once again thank you for tuning in for some V8 Cup Series action. The regular season has been complete, but the chase for the championship officially begins. We hope to see you there next week at Watkins Glen.